All right, so there we are. I just created the container and the 3 different divisions inside of the container and set the classes. And here first thing I did, I created the outline. I set the body to have a set width, margin 0 auto, so the body's centered in my page. I set a background color just to have a different color to it. And then I said for all of the div header, nav, and body divs with those classes right there, all 3 of those, I want all 3 of those to share the this CSS styling. I want them all to be a minimum of 100 pixels, and I want them all to be width of 100%. And then individually, I want them to have specific different things, different styling. So we'll go back, refresh again. We have the same thing. So those are my divisions. The min height, I think it doesn't make as much sense anymore there. Maybe I'll put a min height for the header to be 100. The min height for the nav bar is probably going to be smaller, so I'll put 50. And the min height for the body content, I'll put like 400. And the reason why I do that is just so it looks a little more realistic to the project. So when I do it and I add content on there, I kind of know that, yeah, that's the nav bar. Obviously, it's smaller. I get that's the header, and I get that's the body content. So that's like the highest level that I see this as far as like how the division should be set. And this is the way I would design this. I would build it, not design it, but I would build it. Next, let's look at the project one more time. I want to make this box here, and the 4 boxes in the bottom. I just want them in place already and ready to go. Actually, you know what? There's also a box here, I think, that's kind of like a 1-layer middle section. So left, right, middle, and then 4 of the bottom ones there. So I think I'll choose to do those first. So in this body division, I'm going to open it up and work within the body division now. I need the left, which is going to be an image. So we can just straight do an image tag. Source, we don't have really a source for it, but we're going to give it a class of content image, however you want to decide to call it, just to have an image there. Let's see if that gives us an image, or do we have to actually put an image on there? Spec element should always be up. I want to see where that element is at. It's probably because it has no height or width, but let's just double check. Image is not even... Is that anywhere? It's not even there.
It says it has a dotted outline.
Yeah. So width 100 pixels. Oh, there it is. Height 100 pixels. There it is. So it's just the height and width I have to set to it to see it. So this image is an image tag with a class of content-image. Kind of redundant. I can just do this. Content. It's the image for content. So under my body tag, I'm going to tab over and call in the image tag. This calls on all images in my page, every single one in this file. But I'm going to specify the one with the class of content. This is different. This is saying any image that inside of that image I have some kind of element that has a class of content. If there's no space, then you're saying any image that has a content class on it. In this case, I have an image that has a content class on it, not in it.
Can you define this first one, the space?
Yeah, space and not space. And image is a bad example because image has nothing ever in it. A better example would be like the body class div body, right? So I could say I want any division with the class of body to have this CSS. Or I want any division, specifically any class, any element at all that has a class of body inside of that division. So this one here is not targeting that division. It's targeting all of the elements inside of that division. So I could have a span tag that has a class of body on it, and this line here would affect it.
Not sure I understand. Are you?
Oh, so that's all right. So if there's no space, then I should just specify.
If there's no space, it's that class. If it's that tag with that class, meaning that in this case, it's that div tag with the body class inside of it. If I put a space here, then I'm talking about some kind of element. Some kind of element inside of that div class. I mean, inside of any div actually in this case, right? I'm not even specifying. I'm just saying inside of any div. If any div inside of it has a something, whatever it is, span, and that span has a class of exactly body, then this is affected.
Global versus local type of thing. So if it's
Sorta.
space, it's more global to it.
It's talking to the children.
It's talking to children. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, but specifically it's talking to children that have a class of body.
But if you put div space dot body,
Mhm.
you say it's dot body in any div? Is
No,
that-
yeah, exactly. And it's looking for, first off, this is looking for every single div in our page, and it finds 1, 2, 3, 4 divisions. Right.
So if you had a div that.
If I have any kind of element now inside of any of these 4 divs that has a class of body,
Right,
that's going to be the element that will be affected by this code.
but if you put it outside, well, you can't put it outside the divs because you've got a container. So wouldn't it be exactly the same as just putting dot?
Yeah, in this case it would be, because I have that top container. If I got rid of this, it would be different.
I see.
Right, good point. So anyways, we'll keep it kind of simple and call on the division with a class of body. There it is. We don't need the span thing anymore. In this case, we are not doing the div class of body. We're calling on the image with a class of content. We want the width to be at least, I don't know, the page is 970 wide, right? So let's say it's like 400 wide pixels. There it is, 400 wide. Let me just get rid of that for a moment so we can see it. So that's an image, 400 wide. Right click, inspect element. That's the image right there, 400 wide. Great. The height gets auto completed, considering the aspect ratio of your image. So you can define width or height, and then the other one gets auto generated. So we have the image, that's great, and then to the right of the image, we want to put another block for all the code, right? For all of the text. Notice how there's nothing grayed out to the right of that image, because it's most likely an inline block element, so things will just kind of cascade next to it. But a lot of the other type of divisions, right now, if I clicked on that, it would show me like a, peach-looking color here, because it's taking over that width. So let's kind of run through here. So image is 400, that's great. After the image, the very next line of code, I'm going to create a division class of description, because this is the description content. And inside of this, let me just scoot it over here. We are going to, there we go, put a bunch of code. Oh, all right. Why does that happen? I expected this whole thing to be the set width. Yeah, it's not going to happen by itself. That paragraph is going to take the full width of its parent division, so I just have to set that paragraph to have a certain width. So here, division dot description width 500. There it is. Right click, inspect element. Let's look at it. My paragraph is okay, but my division needs to become an inline block element, otherwise it's taking up the full row, right? So my division, we have display inline block. Let's close that. There it is. But now it's in the bottom. What's the fix when? Yeah, exactly. Vertical line. There we go. And perhaps now I can space both of them out a little bit so they can look centered on the screen. We can do a couple different things. We can go to body and say text align center, and it centers them both in the center of the screen, and then just add a little bit of margin on one of them so it can push each other away, but they're all going to be centered. So
That's allowed, that's okay, that's not considered bad form or anything. It seems like an awful lot of times it's real easy to just push it,
Yeah, with text align center.
well, or just even use margins to push it around.
To a certain extent, it's okay to do that. Absolutely, I think so. But right now, I will just take the description tag here and add a margin, because I want the outside of the description element to push away from the other elements. If I had padding, I would be talking about the inside of that description element. So I will explain that in a second. Description is an element that has in it a paragraph, correct? There's the description element, and the paragraph is this part here, right? So the extra space here is from the division of description, correct? With the padding, and give it 10 pixels padding all around this. It added padding all around the left and the right side and the top side. Do you guys see that? How it kind of brought up all the text further in and made the box larger, taller. So that's kind of how you make it so that text is a little more nicely set. So put 15 padding there. It looks good. Perhaps even that looks great, but let's just put 10 here and give this a margin left 5 pixels so we can push this element away from that element. There we are, maybe 15 pixels. There we go. That's good enough, right? More or less. So this is the Lorem code. We can just put more of it. And then actually we forgot kind of like a header tag on the top of this division before the paragraph. H1, some stuff here. And there is that header tag. The header tag, we can make it to be yellow. How do I call in that header tag? That header tag is inside of the division with the class of description, right? Yep. We can call in that tag and then specify all of the H1 tags inside of it and say background color, yellow. There it is.
Now, is your box to the left, which is going to be a photo, is that how you want it to float to the right a little bit like that? Or see the left-hand margin
Yeah.
on your photo box?
Yeah.
Is that how you wanted it to be?
Yeah, because I would add margin to the image itself. Yeah, so it pushes space around it so the top has space. Actually, we'll do that right now. We'll go back to image content here, add padding, 5 pixels. There it is, because some extra space around it now. Which means that maybe we can just reduce the margin. Pixels maybe. There we go. That looks good. So now the next one, let's put this large division here in the middle. It's that little, or is it that thing right here? Kind of, oops, the text that's right here. Let's get rid of that. Let's put that division there to have that text and then create those 4 divisions. So that's still in body. It's still after the division for description. I'll create a division called, I don't know, center content, center text, something. And inside of this, we'll have like a span tag of just code, some information here with some image here. Oops. There it is, some information here with some image here. That's the problem with text-align center. If you do text-align center at the very beginning, other things now are, they inherit that value. So I would have to,
That's why.
yeah. That's better for that. And for this thing here, it's a span tag inside of the division with a description. So I can just copy this, put it on here, say any span tag inside of the division with the description, which is all this content here. I want that to have a text align left, excuse me.
Wouldn't that be your div is the center? Or-
It is, yeah, you're right. And the division is called center-text. There we go. Now I might want to space it out a little bit so we can do a little bit of padding top and bottom. Padding dash top, 10 pixels. Padding dash bottom, 10 pixels. And give it some space. Now this element is taking up, I think, the full width of that row, right? Let's see. Magnifying glass right over it. Yep. Div.center text taking up the full width. That's great because the next element is going to cascade under it, and that's what I want, right? And to be able to see it a little better, maybe up here when I set the minimum height for the body. Maybe I'll make this like 800 so we can see the extra spot there. So now I need to make 4 boxes, align them.
What about the graphic?
What about the graphic underneath the text?
Like to the left of some information, there's a graphic that they didn't give us, but
Yeah, it's like their logo, really small.
Yeah, it's just a resized logo.
it's the same as the top one.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it looks like.
That thing right there?
Yeah, that guy.
You could crop it and put it on there, however you want to.
Could you do a resized image?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Take a picture of the image or resize the image however you want to do it, and then use the URL here whenever you add it. So right before this, we would put an image. Source would be whatever source, wherever that's coming from. And maybe I would even added a class. We don't have to add it to a class because we can say a div.center text and then the image inside of that element. I want the width to be, I don't know, 15 pixels, and that should fix the height. So there it is. Maybe that's like 25, I guess. $15 is okay. So maybe now we need padding left now also. 15 pixels. Here we go. And then the image itself, maybe we can add padding to the top. 5 pixels. That's good, right? That's close to each other.
How do you move the second one?
Did it? Yeah, we might need to do.
Padding never works for me.
It does work.
Big margins.
Margin works too? Yeah, sure. That'll do.
So you can use the class and then you say P and then do a margin onto that P.
Yeah.
Instead of that
Because,
padding.
yeah, exactly. Just like this one here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a span. There is CSS styling. Let's see. CSS. What would you say? When nothing is working.
Perfect.
That sounds a little. Yeah. We can try that, but
Should we be using relatives?
I think it's okay to use position method. Yeah, padding bottom, padding. Oh yeah, negative padding. Let's see, content text, and we said that's a span tag, right? Oh yeah, yeah. So it's a span tag, so we can call on the center text, and use the span tag, and then change around as padding dash bottom. I think that would work.
Can't you apply the vertical line to the span?
Ooh, good call. Top, would that work? Oh, good call. I did not know that. I like that way better. Let's forget about this crap then. Whoa, a little much there. I think I'm a little too fast. Perfect. Well done.
So they're aligned at the top.
Yeah, vertical line top. Yeah, great call. So let's make those 4 boxes down here. You really can just make one and then copy paste the other 3. There's no reason to write out all 4 because just one is a copy paste of next to them, the rest of them, excuse me. And the other question so it's easier to make this with more divisions than it is with less, I think, in the beginning. And then as you start building more and more, you realize, oh, I guess I don't really need this division. But in your situation, what I would do here first is I would create a div that starts from here and ends here for the whole row. And in that div, I would create those boxes. We'll do it the most efficient way, though, because I want you guys to see I think one of the best routes to take. We're done with the, let's see, description. We're still in the body, right? Yeah, we're done with the class center here. Let's just move this up over a little bit. So here we're going to create a division. We're going to create a class of, I don't know, boxes. And inside of each one of those boxes, we'll have, well, let's make the first one. Div.boxes. We'll have a width of, I'm going to use percent here because it's 23% of its parent division. Easy. And a height of 200 pixels. There it is. And I'm going to make the other two here in just a second. Second, third, fourth. There they are. Why are they lined up like this? You got it. There they are. Let's add some margin to them. Whoa. A little much. Alright, that's a little much also. That's a little much also. Looks about good. Maybe their height, their minimum height, so we can always allow them to get larger in size if we want to. And be higher, so there it is. And that's the, if you look at it from the outside, that's the large size, right? That's the large version of it. And I don't think that took too long, but the idea is that once all these boxes are set in stone, now I could just go and work on this one division. And I could care less about all the other divisions because everything is in place, everything is organized and in order. And even here, I kind of did a lot more than I should, but that's fine. Because you do want to create the skeleton, and now you can go back and say, you know what, boxes, background color, that's going to be kind of like black, or whatever it was on the picture. Cool, that's the image. Cool, this is a nav bar, so in my nav bar, maybe I'll do that now. And in here, I will do the unordered list, and in the unordered list, I'll have the list item, and the first one is, I don't know, whatever they are, home, about, I don't even know.
See your code that you use on the HTML side for those boxes.
Yeah.
What did you? So you created the div on the right.
Right there. I just created a box div. That's it. Just boxes right here. 4 of them. And I set their width to be 23% for each one of those 4. Then I'll set them all to be 300 height, all inline blocks so they can be next to each other. I give them all a little bit of margin all around so they kind of space themselves away from each other. And just put a black background so they're a little more prominent when you see them. These things here make some space. So if we go back to it, we can look at, well, we would have to go up here and find the nav bar. Div.nav space ul is unordered list, and div.nav space ul space li is the list items in there. We can make that a list items. We want to make sure the list items are display inline block. There they go. But there is some added space here, and I'm not going to guess what it is. I'm going to inspect elements, use a magnifying glass. If anybody asks me, why is there space here? Guess what I'll do first? I'm going to pull up this tool and be like, let's go look at it. So look at this. The unordered list has margin top and bottom. So the unordered list, right? I know this because I looked at here. The UL, not the LI, but the UL. The unordered list has margin top and bottom. Well, let's go here to the unordered list and let's just set the margin to 0. What does that do? There you go. So why does that happen? I believe the unordered list by default creates margins on the top and bottom. So if you have multiple unordered lists next to each other, they kind of, push a little bit of space from each other. So now the list items themselves, I want the font size. So font size goes by pixels or EMs. M, which is something to do with like the large M, the actual physical M. But 1 EM is, well, that size. 1.5 EMs is a larger size, and etc. So 1.7, etc. So that seems to be something that a lot of Jay, do you have used that more so?
M is the, I think it's the size of the M of the font at its default size
Right.
of the viewport.
And that's used mostly, right? Most of the time, that's what is used.
The font. Yeah, M.
So we'll add margin left to each one of these by 15 pixels, so we can add more margin of these, so they're a little more offset. And perhaps the background needs to change so that the color looks, well, let's just add a little bit of padding as well. It's a little much probably. Oh, there we go. And so the nav bar itself, maybe the background color is going to be a gradient color, not straight color. So gradient, CSS, gradient, background. Well, we don't need a generator, but it's a little extreme. We just need W3 schools. And oh, there it is. Background color, linear gradient from place to place with the direction. And look at an example real quick. And this is an example. Left, red. Oh, you just used left. That's interesting. Left top. That's what I'm used to, the 180 degree thing. But let's try this. So we're going to replace the color here. Where is it? Nav bar. We're going to replace this with linear gradient. Direction will be bottom. The color will be RGB of, let's see, I don't know, 50, 50, 50 to RGB of okay, 150, 150, 150. So what am I doing here? This is just gradient. If you just follow kind of the pattern they have online, they tell you that just write this code and then tell us which way you want it to go, like left, right, top, bottom, or by degrees, and then give us the colors you want. I want this color first, and then this color next, and this color next. And because I only give them 3 colors, they know to break it down in like a 1/3 increments. So I don't think that worked. I don't think that worked.
I get that, like the web thing.
Really?
Specific.
If you're trying to go from top to bottom, you don't have to see the bottom.
180 degree, is that what you say? That looks a little better. Ah, nice. Okay. But it's actually the opposite of I think what they wanted, right? I think it's lighter. To 20 to 20 to 20 to 20 to 20, and there it is. Right. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit. Get rid of this. Oh, this is actually why the EMs work, right? Benefit? Or does this always happen with text? That increases. Usually nobody will go out this far, so don't really worry about that. But what, the sound?
Yeah.
My computer. Or it's up there or something. I shouldn't have said anything. That was too good. I shouldn't say anything at all. But yeah. The reason why I bring this up and point it out is because I see a lot of people working on just this one nav bar and like nothing else is done. And this is just so much more rewarding when you have more of it looking like it's done. And it is. More of it is truly done. It's just you just kind of ease into the details. You don't just jump into the details. You kind of go from large perspective to smaller perspective, right? Just more efficient, more effective.
So you said you recorded that?
I did. I am. I'm going to stop the recording right now.